y'all, it's Kayla with Tactical Response, and I'm here today with my sister and my niece. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
This is, what's your name?
Amaya.
And Heather.
And we are going to talk about diabetes in a disaster. First thing is the difference in type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Type 1 is usually diagnosed, online it says before 40, but it used to be called juvenile diabetes because it happens so frequently in younger people and has nothing to do with your weight or any other health factors. You can't get rid of it. It is incurable, but you can manage it. And that's why Maya's here with us, because she has type 1 diabetes.
She got diagnosed when she was 2.
Yeah, she was 2 years old when she was diagnosed. And so type 1 diabetes is where you start out producing very little insulin and then you dwindle to nothing, becoming dependent on insulin for the rest of your life. Type 2 can actually be reversed with diet, exercise. It's just where your cells are more resistant to the insulin, or you don't produce enough, but you can supplement it with insulin, and then there are a ton of medications. So what happens to especially type 1 diabetics during a disaster? So first question, what's more dangerous, highs or lows? And
We know, what is it? Lows.
Lows are absolutely more dangerous. If you find somebody that you know is a diabetic and they're passed out, you should immediately start giving them sugar. If they're passed out, they make glucagon injections, or you can take like the sugar, put it under their tongue, like anything to get their blood sugar up. Because even if it's up, it's not going to be any more dangerous than it already is if they're passed out. And if it's down and they get to too low of blood sugar, there's no coming back from it. So you're always going to treat somebody that's unconscious or acting funny as if they have low blood sugar. So some of the things, like, since we're talking diabetes in a disaster, tell them what you're doing out at the range so that we have access to simple sugars that can quickly raise her blood sugar.
So we bought a bunch of fruit trees, and they have since been planted. I think we have like 15 to 18 fruit trees out there right now. And then there was also some already on the property that we found, some persimmons. So fruit and just sugar in general is really hard to find just like in the wild. So it's really important that we have those on the property growing, so that way, you know, if we ever were in like a really bad scenario, we have those, we can those, you know, we can make juice out of those. Those are simple sugars that she can eat. We also haven't had it yet, but we're planning on getting bees that will give us honey. And honey is also a really great source of sugar that you can get just in the wild. So having the fruit and honey is really important for us if we couldn't go to the grocery store.
Yep. So those are natural ways to bring your blood sugar up. Can you tell the difference in how you feel when your blood sugar is high and when your blood sugar is low?
Whenever it's low, I feel all wobbly and I can barely stand. And whenever it's shot high, feels like needles are poking into my hands and my feet.
You also get really thirsty a lot of the times too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And hungry.
And
hungry.
Those are some things that are pretty across the board with diabetes type 1 and 2. Whenever your blood sugar is low, you feel lightheaded, dizzy, kind of numb, not feeling great at all. And then some other things like your heart rate will go up. You can start sweating really bad, and that is all for low blood sugar. And for high blood sugar, having to pee a lot and being super thirsty are your biggest 2 indicators. If you get to the point where you can smell somebody's breath and it smells fruity, that's an ER trip. And again, we're talking about diabetes in a disaster, which leads us into the next thing, how to bring blood sugar down naturally. And for type 2 diabetes, it's a lot easier because you do still produce some insulin. So there are ways that make your cells more receptive to that insulin. For type 1 diabetics, it's a little bit more difficult because they don't produce insulin at all. So you would have to go to a completely carb-free diet to maintain it, and then plenty of water and exercising. When I was working at the jail, I had the I was the water and exercise nurse. They say, Miss Kayla, you tell me to go drink water and exercise if I broke my arm. Like, now, I'd also get it splinted for you, but that would promote healing.
That's fine.
No, water, drinking plenty of fluids with 0 sugar in them. Some fake sugars like aspartame and Splenda, they still cause an insulin response in some people. So that may still like bring your sugar up a little bit.
We haven't found that with Amaya most of the time.
But that's different per person.
Right.
Like,
I just meant for her.
yeah,
in
but for her,
particular.
so for her, she can drink the diet sodas and stuff like that, and as long as she stays hydrated, and then exercise. So, what do you have to do whenever you're outside playing really hard? What you got to watch extra for?
I gotta watch my sugar.
Because,
Make
like,
sure it doesn't bottom out too much.
whenever we, like, play tennis or if we swim a whole lot, don't we have to check it more frequently? We have to eat snacks a lot whenever we're out there.
Yep. So, it works as a natural insulin. It's the only thing proven to lower your blood sugar without injecting insulin into your body.
Yep.
And whenever, again, at the jail, when we would have diabetics come in and they had to go a little while without their medication, I was like, okay, you gotta stay on top of that water and you gotta walk around. And sometimes we get them extra time out in their day room area, I guess. But for her, if her blood sugar is high, just, hey, go play outside for a little bit. And it can naturally bring it down.
Like, we go hiking, and anytime that we go hiking, she gets to wear a pod that gives her, like, it releases insulin all day long. We actually suspend her insulin, where if we go on a 2-hour hike, she's actually not receiving insulin for the entire hike, and we still have to stop, and she still has to eat snacks just to keep her blood sugar at like a safe level so it doesn't get low and she doesn't get shaky. And even still doing that sometimes, even with no insulin being given to her, we've had to stop, let her drink juice because it'll still get kind of low on us. So like exercise works really, really well.
Yep. And then the supplements that we were talking about that do help, especially for type 2 diabetics, garlic, fenugreek, turmeric, and ginger. Those all help your body to better use the insulin you have. And then I was looking for specifically for type 1 diabetics. And it said magnesium, green tea, and vitamin B1 can help you better utilize like the insulin that you're being given. So I don't know if that would help outside of you taking insulin, but it said that it would put you could use less by doing that. So
speaking of diabetes, my cyborg child is making a bunch of noises.
So what's going on now?
Our blood sugar is falling. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and you can go get a drink and we'll stay here.
Yep.
Go ahead. Speaking of diabetes, her blood sugar is dropping, so she's going to go get a drink.
So right now she has an insulin pump and a CGM, which is constant glucose monitoring, and that reads out her blood sugar constantly.
It updates every 5 minutes.
You can check it
Yeah.
any time of the day or whatnot. If you're going to store anything, insulin goes bad, so you can't store too far in advance for that. I would store meter supplies so that you can just read where your blood sugar is. So batteries for your meter, lithium instead of the alkaline because alkaline leaks and corrodes. So lithium batteries for your meter, plenty of fresh, clean needles. You don't want an infection if we are in any kind of disaster scenario, and then plenty of testing strips, alcohol pads as well.
The Lancets are relatively cheap, but the test strips are not. They're about, the ones that we had to get before Amaya got her Dexcom were about $100 for 100 of them, so it's about $1 per strip.
And with this is specific to Amaya, you'll have to get it figured out for you before something like this happens, how many carbs you need to bring your blood sugar up a certain amount. So for y'all, what's your magic number?
15.
Yeah, we do. It's the rule of 15 carbs, and they say wait 15 minutes, but we can usually tell if she's not starting to feel at least a little bit better. We can tell when we need to give more.
And 15 is a really good starting point because how many points does it bring your blood sugar up with 15 carbs?
It depends. Like, I know that's it just because, like, right now it's falling rapidly, which is why it said that. Because it's like right now it's not considered low, but it's dropping really quickly, and so she'll probably have to have more, right? Because we're trying to prevent it from falling, right? And it depends on how quickly it's falling, and there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah. So that diabetes in a disaster is bad all around, but those are the ways that you can kind of help manage it. Plenty of water, plenty of exercise, which if we have that kind of disaster, you're going to be doing anyways.
They're gonna be having.
Yeah. And making sure that you have the meter supplies to know where you stand. And if not, recognizing the signs that we said, thirst and peeing a lot for high blood sugar, and then dizziness, just general, like, kind of feeling loopy almost for low blood sugar.
Which I don't know about other people, but for Amaya, I think that she would agree with me whenever we say, like, it's way easier to feel a low than it is a high. Like, it's a lot easier. It takes a little while for her to realize that it's high.
And if you've had the longer you have diabetes, the harder it is going to be to recognize those highs because your body adjusts to it.
Yeah.
So just stock up on the supplies to check it. Like, that's the only thing you can prep for. So stock up on those supplies.
Yep.
If you guys have any questions, put them in the comments below. I'll be checking it for about a week. So get those in fast. And then I randomly check them after that. But just be patient. I think that wraps it up. Do you have anything else you want to say? Yeah, you do. Grandpa's lawn.
Responsibility to be ready for the fight.
Yeah, do it.
Your responsibility
Your responsibility
to be ready for the fight
to be ready for the fight
never ends.
never ends.